guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here to have a bit more of a play with the very vintage kit that we've been playing with. So this, as you can see, are all my fussy cuts that I have yet to use. So I have tons and tons and tons of bits and pieces still left. I'm just going to kind of pop them to one side for a moment. And what I've done, I have assembled a journal. So just kind of show you what I've done. Let me just move this stuff out of the way. So it's just an envelope journal, and basically on the inside of the front cover I just popped this lovely image of the handsome man. Obviously, as you can see, he's got the white edges. I obviously hadn't set my printer to borderless when I printed that out, but that's fine, because I think what I'm going to try and do is make a pocket down here, possibly out of the you know, same image, and then I will probably put some lace or a ruffle down the side. I'm not quite sure yet, but you know, that will be covered up, so that's fine. And the rest is just a combination of coffee dyed papers in varying thicknesses. So I've got some thicker ones to obviously, you know, put my embellishment pieces on, and then I've got some thinner ones to leave plain just for journaling. And I've also kind of interspersed odd pages from the kit itself, because I thought that's nice to kind of do. So you've got a variety of things there. This is that beautiful Crafty Cat envelope that we did. So that's how that looks. And then this is the centre of the signature here. I love this collage page so much. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to cover any of that up. I might just leave it as it is. I haven't decided yet. And then obviously that's the reverse of that. And then this is the other part of that Crafty Cat envelope. So as you can see, obviously we've got, you know, that other page. And then on the back of the inside of the back cover, again, I just did very similarly to the front, in that I just took an image from the kit and I've just popped it down. I mean, obviously these envelopes are slightly bigger than A4, so obviously these are A4 sheets, so that's why, you know, there's always kind of going to be a gap at the bottom. But I mean, that's fine, because you could fill it in either with more paper, you could pop a pocket on there, or, you know, pop some lace trim, or, you know, whatever kind of you chose. But, you know, it's easily kind of covered up the gap if you've got kind of a space down there. So, you know, you don't need to kind of worry too much about that. So that's kind of the journal so far. Obviously, as you can see, I haven't decorated the covers at all. I've said before lots of times, I often, I'm not saying, you know, I'm not saying it's a rule, because, you know, I do flit around with my kind of how I do things, but as a rule, not as a rule, but quite often I don't tend to actually decorate the covers of the journals until the, you know, the last thing really. So I'm not going to do anything with them. I'm just hunting around now for my scissors, would you believe? So hold on 2 seconds. Just going to grab my scissors in a kind of bag, because well, I mean, I'm sure I have other pairs buried somewhere on my desk, but who knows where. But I happen to know that I had a pair in my bag, because where I'd kind of, you know, taken things kind of with me. Right, so I'm just going to trim this up here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it down so that I open the back of the journal. I like kind of doing this, you know, it's just something I seem to do, having the, you know, a pocket. I tend to either do the front or the back. I don't tend to do both. You know, you could do both. I don't know as I've ever done both, but I think that's really because you know, my journals tend to turn out very, very chunky. So if I were to have kind of a big pocket on the front and the back, you know, that's an awful lot more bulk potentially once you've kind of put things in there. So that's why I tend to just do one or the other. But there's no reason why you couldn't do both. You know, maybe one of these days I'll be really exciting and experiment and do both. So obviously, as you could probably see, I've got kind of one or two spots where I need to kind of just fill this in with some glue because it's just not quite stuck 100%. So I'm just going to kind of stick that down. And I had actually used Mod Podge to stick the paper on. So, you know, I'm just kind of gluing it down with my wet glue. But equally could all, you know, always kind of fill in the edges with the Mod Podge, which was what I used for the kind of bulk of it. So okay, hopefully that's kind of stuck down. I don't think it's kind of got any other sections. The only other section that I noticed was this part, which hopefully I'm in frame, just of kind of the envelope. So again, I'm just going to kind of stick that down like that. Okay, right. So the next thing that, you know, and again, you know, I'm sure if you watch my channel, you've seen me do all of this before. It's nothing very interesting, but I like to kind of roughly put my pieces out where I may like them to go in the journal, because it gives me an idea of roughly, you know, how many embellishments more that I need, or where things are going to go, you know, that kind of thing. So I've started doing that already. Obviously, quite a few of these we've made, you know, here with the craft with, you know, Craft with Me's. So I've got these two. I quite like them kind of on these pages together, because to me they kind of match, because they've got those lovely yellow flowers. So I'm quite happy with those two there on this one. And as you can see, my daughter had actually drawn on this piece of paper. Actually, to be fair, she'd actually drawn on this kind of, it's actually card, it's 200 GSM cardstock, before I coffee dyed it, but it was just this one piece, you know, here, and I just thought what a waste to not use it. So obviously once my piece is glued on there, you won't even see that. So we've got this envelope here. Actually it's a flip down, not an envelope, but we could have that there. The only thing is, once you kind of flip it down, it's kind of technically off the journal, so I might prefer to kind of swap that out. So maybe I will swap that out with this piece, which is a bit better, and we can always kind of stick something around there. This piece is a thinner piece, and then obviously we've got the decorative paper, we've got some more thin there. Then, whoops, these two are again thicker for kind of placing embellishment pieces. I've got this one here, so I'm going to pop her there. Maybe we could have this one here. The other thing why it's quite helpful to do this is because, you know, sometimes you end up with all of your certain colours or certain types of embellishments, you know, in one place, and then kind of, if this makes sense, you know, kind of none of that going on further down the book. So it's quite nice to be able to kind of lay it out roughly, because then you can make sure you're getting a mixture of things throughout the whole journal. So I'm just going to pull in some other bits. So I've made some other pieces since our last craft along. So just, now this is that piece that I still don't quite know what to do with this. I don't really want to cover it up because I just love how it is. So what I might do is just put a couple of pockets on here. Yeah, I might do that, and I might even have it as kind of just paper clipped on. Yeah, I might do that. Problem is I will actually forget what my plan is with that, and then, you know, won't remember what I thought I would do with that. So this is that longish pocket. That might be quite nice here on this page. Then we've got this one here. Now, got obviously the corner pocket that we made in one of the Craft with Me's. Got this one. So again, they go really nicely because of the, you know, the yellow and the pinks together. So going over here, I have made this one since our last video, and that's just kind of a fold up or a flip up, or not sure what you call it, but anyway, so that's quite nice there. And we've got some obviously thin pages again. Now on here, I've got this one, which I think we made together, and I've got this smallish pocket. So this one we did say we might paperclip in, because obviously I don't want to cover up the back. So again, might just pop that to one side because they're going to be kind of paperclipped in. So if we were to have this one, right, this one and this one. So I've got here some other little bits and pieces. So I've made this kind of fold out, so we could have that there. Now, may have to swap this with something. The reason being is because we've obviously got that man on the cover. I feel he's quite close to the image of himself again. So we'll just move him down in the book. So I quite like him there. So I think I'll have him here, there. Okay. So we're going to have that one there instead. And then maybe that one there. And then I did another pocket here. So I mean, that one's quite nice with that one. Or let's just check what we're going to have kind of opposite this man here. And I also made a flip down in the style of Susie at Creative Cafe Girl. Just kind of checking which pieces go best. I'm just having a look through, because I actually made quite a few little bits and pieces, but I mean, a lot of these I could actually you know, paperclip in rather than gluing in. So I'm just checking which pieces are kind of not really necessarily suitable for paperclipping in. So I think most of these pieces are. So if I just show you what I've got here, I've got this envelope pocket, so obviously that will glue in. Then I've got one of those coin envelopes, so that could be paper clipped. We've got this little fold out with the pockets, so again that could be either clipped or glued. I've got the envelope from the kit, enveloped or glued. We've got that little piece that we just used some of the scrap for. I'll probably add some extra pages and we'll pop that into a pocket. I've got this piece, I didn't really know what to do with this. I was just kind of playing around really. So it's kind of like a cluster, but not quite. So again, I'm not quite sure, you know, what to do with that one. Then I just made a couple of kind of, they can either be fold down kind of flips, or obviously we could glue them as envelopes. And I just made a couple of those. And then this one is a, and again I struggle to say the word, matchbox booklet. So again, you know, this one could be either glued or paper clipped in, or, you know, popped in a pocket. When I say paper clipped in, I mean or popped in a pocket really. So just kind of got these last few pieces that we want to kind of see where we want to have them. So just checking that we've got kind of the right combinations, going with the right combinations really. So let's just see. I mean, I don't dislike that. I think that's quite nice. Do you think he's better with that? I mean, I guess it depends what his pocket's going to end up looking like, really. I mean, I quite like that there. Just go back through in case we want to kind of swap anything over. So on this page we've got her. And obviously she's got lots of pink on her, so, and there's an image of her down there, which, you know, maybe that would be kind of nice to have that tying in there. Those two. Got that one. This one, actually, that might be quite nice to have that kind of opposite because they're really quite nicely matching. And we've got her, him there, these there, this one here, then her pages, these two here, or he may look good with that one opposite. Oh, it's hard to decide. So I might kind of leave this, you know, undecided at the moment. Let me just pull my pieces back in one more time. I mean, obviously I could always make another piece if I haven't got anything kind of suitable, but so I've got the Matchbox book. Did you notice the balls there? Just again, just couldn't quite say it. We've got that one there. We've got the coin envelope. Got that weird kind of cluster thing. But, I mean, I think I just kind of did that really plain, just kind of using up some bits that I had kind of torn off, you know, that I had left over. That's that lovely handsome man again. Oops, sorry, my bits to the side were just slipping off of where they're balanced. Definitely think I want these paper clipped in because they're really nice. So I think I'll probably go for that one, to be honest. Right, decision made. So, oh, I haven't got a piece here now. Oh well, that's okay. We can come to that in a minute. So what we might do is start with the pages that we're 100% sure of. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of like to just work my way through, but in no particular order, and then I can go back to the bits that I'm not sure of. So this one, I definitely like these two here. I love them together. They kind of really nicely matching. So I think we'll go for those. Now, I feel like this page is crying out for a little bit of the olive green stamping. This is where I won't be able to find my olive green stamp. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness it's right there. Now, to decide which stamp. I mean, I know it's just endlessly boring to always go for the same old stamps, but I just do have my favourites. I'm sure that you guys probably have favourites yourselves, you know, that you really like using. But I know it's obviously a little bit dull to watch people constantly doing the same old thing, but just having a little rummage through my tiny weeny drawer here. So it's a tiny weeny drawer, but it is packed to the brim. You know, I literally couldn't get anything more in it if I tried. So just having a look through to see what other stamps I may have. I really wanted to kind of just not do the same old thing again, but I just think sometimes, you know, when things work for you, don't change them, you know, and that's a bit how I feel about kind of my favourite stamps, is just they're my working stamps, my ones that, you know, time and time again I can use them and I never feel disappointed. I always really love them. So that's kind of where I'm at with those. So I've got the small corner stamp. I think we're going to use that. So take my olive green. I'm just pulling a kind of scrap piece here, just because I like to be able to stamp it out, you know, once or twice first, just to make sure it's coming out juicy. Okay. Oh, I mean, I love that olive green, isn't it gorgeous? And I am really trying to kind of, you know, even though I might be using the same old stamps all the time, I am trying to kind of mix up colours a little bit. So, oh, that's so gorgeous, isn't it? I just love it. So then I'm going to do, now I'm wondering, do I do them in all four corners? Or do I do, let's put one down here, like that. So that's kind of nice. And then what I might do is just take something else, maybe like my script or something, and just kind of maybe have a bit of script. Maybe like here and here or something. Yeah. And again, we'll just have a little bit kind of going, maybe here. I'll just do the kind of smaller section, because it's got kind of small script and the bigger script. Okay. So, you know, I don't want to kind of cover and smother the page in stamps, but it's nice to kind of have a little bit, isn't it? Okay, so I mean, you know, as you can see, there's barely even any of that script even still showing, but, you know, it's enough to just kind of do something. I couldn't tell you what, but to do something. Actually, and I will just pop a little tiny bit down here, I think, so just kind of run that just here. Okay, right. Okay, so that looks better to me. So I'm going to glue this on. Now, do I want anything kind of going down here, or kind of any ruffle or lace or anything like that? I think I probably do. So again, let me just move that out of the way. Just get some lace. That's quite pretty, isn't it? Oh, I do quite like that. Right, I might have to kind of go for that, I think. So I might just hot glue that down because it's just nice and quick. So tried to run that quite quickly and not saturate it with the hot glue. So it's just kind of gently holding that in place. Like that. Okay. And then we can pop this down, and obviously that's kind of folding out like that. So again, probably glue that on these sides here, so it's kind of like a pocket there. So I will just use my hot glue, I think, just for speed. Let me just pop another glue stick in case. Oh, I don't know whether it will take another one actually without it just falling out. Right. I kind of want it sitting on the lace slightly, if that makes sense. So just have it sat slightly on it. Like that. Okay, so I like how that looks. Then on the next page, obviously we're going to have this opposite. So I think we'll probably have it kind of running down like that. Now, we talked before about this being quite thin and flimsy. That is still my feeling. So I think what I'm going to do is just kind of stick it onto something. So I'm just going to take this, which is just some, you know, book page, and what I'm going to do is just kind of stick it onto there. Like that. Just because otherwise it's quite flimsy to use as a kind of belly band. So, you know, and obviously it's got those weak spots because obviously it's, you know, effectively lots of little bits kind of joined together, isn't it? So just kind of gluing that onto here like that, and then what I'm going to do is kind of tear it around. So just make this a little bit smaller. Oops, oh, that's actually a double page. I hadn't realised that. Right. There we go. So it's just kind of strengthening it slightly because, you know, I don't feel confident otherwise, you know, in myself mainly, that I wouldn't kind of damage it and break it if it was too flimsy. So just to kind of strengthen it slightly, I just tearing around. Because, you know, I don't actually want the book page overhanging. I just want it kind of strengthening around it a little bit. So, you know, if you can see, you've still got kind of little bits around the edge where it's not kind of gone. But that's fine. There we go. Tear around there. Sorry, I know this is not particularly exciting to watch. Right, there we go. So, you know, to me that just feels slightly sturdier now, and I'd be slightly more confident, you know, in its strength or its usability, or I don't know what the expression would be really, but just slightly more confident that it's a tiny bit more robust really. So we're going to have that here like that. Okay, and I've got some pink lace here which we could kind of just run down here at the edge. We did talk before about having some of that pink lace kind of poking out, didn't we? And obviously that does cover up that corner completely that we actually did, but I don't mind it covering it up. I think it looks pretty kind of being like that. Or we've got the kind of more, you know, this is obviously not a lace trim, this is a piece of lace. So we could have kind of more of a free-flowing lace. So I just cut a kind of strip here. Like that. Oops. Right, I'm just going to stand up and see how that looks kind of through the lens, because I'm kind of veering towards the more filled in, you know, the lace trim really. But sometimes kind of just that bit of height kind of can adjust the entire kind of perception of how it looks. So could have that, and then it's more over, not on the edge of the page, which I quite like that actually. I do quite like that. So we could have it like that. Could have it, you know, without lace at all. I don't dislike it without any. We could have this kind of pink lace going down the edge and then have it kind of sat over it. Oh, I don't know now. I really like them both. Just kind of move the scissors so I can see the two pages kind of together and how they kind of then form together. Oh, I don't know. It's another one of them, why have I tried it? Because now deciding between them is tough. Tough for me. Oops, I think I prefer the lace trim down the edge, but I will just double check again. I don't know actually. Right, I'm going to have to do it again, I'm afraid, sorry. So that's how it is there. That's how it is naked. And that's how it is with the pink down the edge. You see, they're kind of different looks to me. They're, you know, this is much more kind of blank, if you see what I mean. And somehow less junk journal, if that makes any sense. I feel like that looks less junky. This looks more junk journalish, if that is even a term. Yeah, I'm going to go for this. I'm going to go for this. Let's just be brave and actually make a decision. Now, this is where I find my lace is kind of up the wrong way, and then that will kind of alter how it looks, obviously. Yeah, I think it was. Well, I think that would still be fine. So what I might do is actually hold that lace down with hot glue, because obviously if this is going to be stuck over, it will actually cover the hot glue anyway. So I'm going to just run some hot glue down here. See, I'm committing now, so no change in my mind at this point. So I tried to be kind of, again, quite, what's the word? You know, not overly heavy with the hot glue, so it's kind of just a very thin line of it. Cut this piece off because it's obviously a bit overhanging the page. Okay, oops. And then this piece we're going to have kind of over here like that. Now the only thing is, having that like that is that obviously when I tuck things in behind, if I just pull something in. Oh, I thought it was going to perhaps get really caught up on the lace, but actually it doesn't really seem to. So hopefully that's going to be fine. You know, hopefully kind of it's not going to be too much of a problem. So because obviously I've popped the lace down, I think what I'm going to have to do is hot glue this, because, you know, I don't know if the wet glue will kind of stick it firmly enough. So this is where I discover I've stuck it completely wonky. Yep, it was heading that way, so lucky I turned it round. And we'll just pop a bit of hot glue down here, quite a bit, because obviously, I mean, you know, it doesn't need to be really massive, if you see what I mean. There we go. Okay, so I like how that looks. And then I might just pop a little bit of hot glue just under some of these thicker bits, oops, of the lace. Just so it's kind of, you know, not flapping around. I mean, not that it is flapping around, obviously. I say this all the time. Things aren't flapping around. It's not like they're out in the, you know, a hurricane or something. But just for me, I'm, you know, I like things kind of a bit more sort of fixed on the page, really, I suppose. So there we go. Right. Oh, I love how that looks. Looks so pretty. Right. Let me stand up and just have a look. Right. Oh yeah. Like it. Oh, the only thing I don't like is this looks quite pointy, so I'm just going to kind of just cut that off slightly. There we go. It was just looking a little bit kind of pointed, so I prefer that now. Okay, small things for small people, you see. Just, yeah, just sometimes the simplest things just kind of satisfy you, don't they? Right, let's go for this piece now. So we're going to obviously fix this in. We reinforced it, if you recall, with the kind of lace there. So that's kind of aided or acted as an aid to kind of thicken that up. So again, because obviously this is that page where my daughter had kind of drawn on, I just want to kind of cover that up a little bit. So I'm just going to have a look through all my billions of fussy cut pieces and just see what I've got here that I could use just kind of tucked behind it. So, I mean, obviously I've got lots of flowers and things like that. So we could pop some flowers down. Just having a look. So the colours on that kind of are those more, you know, these deep flowers kind of thing. So just having a look to see if I've got any of those. So, sorry to be doing this off camera, it's just I'm running out of space really on my surface. Well, let me bring them in, because otherwise that's just really boring, isn't it, watching my video, which effectively must just be then a blank screen. So let's just search through. So I'm just literally looking through for something that might grab me and kind of you know, go nicely down here. So I have got this one. Obviously the only thing is this is the other way round, and so those flowers would be covered up. Oops. And I'm not keen on that square, actually. Now I've popped that down. Got this tiny piece, which we could have like that. Oh, that's better, isn't it? Yeah, I quite like that. And then what we could do is obviously just have some flowers or something in the corner. Obviously, again, they're not really the right flowers. So, you know, again, we could kind of find some flowers that are a better match. And just fussy cut some of those out. So we've got that lady, she's got that big clump of flowers there. So we could use those. I've got a couple of these. Just looking for any pieces with those flowers there to see which piece. I mean, basically I'm just being really stingy and looking to see which piece I don't mind cutting up. So, I mean, pathetic, isn't it? Because obviously I could just print out more. And look at the amount of pieces that I've got here. It's not really like I'm lacking in pieces, but I just don't want to waste anything. So, and I have also got this collage piece that obviously I have various pieces here that we could use to cut out. So, right. Oh, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. I must stop this. It's just ridiculous. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue this piece down first. So just make a commitment. So this worked really nicely in just covering that little piece up. There we go. Okay. So then this piece here, I'm going to have like that, and then I think I might use this piece, so I might just kind of try and fussy tear these. I'm not sure whether I'm going to be able to, because this is actually quite small. Might have been better off fussy cutting this, because I'm not sure how precise I can be on a small scale with the fussy tearing, but giving it a try. Oh, come on. It's not that easy when it's tiny. It's much easier when it's a big piece. I've said this before, I mean, generally I work better with big pieces, and I'm a bit of a big big piece person. You know, I'm drawn towards bigger pieces anyway, but right. Let me just see how this is going to look, because we've got, obviously, that's how the pocket is without the piece in it. So if we have that there, I wonder if we should have that on a piece of lace or something. Just kind of give it a bit more emphasis. Could have it down there. I really am trying not to procrastinate quite so much, but it is tough, isn't it? Because, you know, I mean, obviously you want things to look kind of as nice as they can. And, you know, obviously that's kind of what we're all looking for, isn't it? Kind of make things look as best they can. And then sometimes that just results in things taking longer than you'd expect. Too much. Maybe I should just have that on the facing page, or maybe I actually should fussy cut that out rather than tear it. Maybe that's what the issue is there. So I think what I'm going to do is get on and actually glue this down, and again I'm going to hot glue this because you know, it's obviously got the lace, so I'm feeling the hot glue is kind of an extra, what do you call it? Oh, I don't know what word I'm now looking for. You know, kind of helps to glue the lace down, I suppose. Right. Let me just see whether this looks any better if I actually fussy cut it instead of tear it. So, I mean, obviously some of those bits have now kind of gone into the flowers, so I might struggle, but come on, come on, come on. So I hope that everybody's having a good day. You probably were until this point, to be honest. This is probably a low point now. But yeah, hope that you're all managing to do some crafting. I just think, gosh, a day without crafting is just rubbish, isn't it? I think I do manage to get crafting in most days. The day I don't probably is a Thursday, because Thursday I kind of work, you know, my longer day. I still finish quite early. I'm lucky that I still finish quite early, but I then go to yoga straight from work normally. So by the time I get home, it's then straight away dinner time. I try and make my husband cook on a Thursday. Sometimes that's successful, sometimes it's not. In that sometimes he cooks, sometimes he doesn't. And also sometimes his cooking's successful, sometimes it's not. But he generally kind of works from home on a Thursday, so he kind of does the school run. And I just think it's only fair then that he kind of then cooks. So yeah, I normally go to yoga straight from work, then come home, either cook or not, if I'm lucky, not. Not that I mind cooking, but I do think it's nice to kind of have a day without. And I'm going to have that here, I think. And then by the time that we've kind of had dinner and things, it's then, you know, 7 o'clock. And I don't know about you guys, I'm not great in the evenings. Not really an evening person. I'm quite tired by that point. So, you know, we normally kind of sit and watch something with the kids. And, I mean, often, I've said lately, we've been watching the Grand Tour, like the Top Gear thing, which I'm really enjoying. It's absolutely hilarious, some of their challenges that they get up to. I didn't overly like Top Gear, but the format of the Grand Tour just somehow seems different and very, very, very amusing. So we normally watch a bit of that, or, you know, something. So I might just do some fussy cutting or something like that often on a Thursday, but that's kind of the extent of it. But I think other than a Thursday, I generally manage to get a bit of crafting in somewhere most days, you know, which is awesome, because who wants to not do crafting? Right, so now I've got these two pieces on this page, and obviously we could do with another piece for here. So I'm going to do these now. Feeling slightly irritated that that piece is kind of coming up there. Now I'm just wondering whether I want to actually have this as a fold down or whether I want to have it as an envelope. Maybe as an envelope. Now let me just check what time I'm up to. 45 minutes. So if I don't deliberate too much, we may be able to actually get this page kind of done. Now I'm going to try, I'm still persevering, would you believe, with that azure stays on. That was dried out all those weeks ago when I was using it for, oh gosh, I can't even remember now what I was using it for. But it was dried out all that time ago, so I probably haven't got any hope now. But if I press really hard, I don't think I've got my water up here with me either. Well, it's coming out enough, because I thought let's do a bit of blue stamping around here. So what I'm going to do, I think, is just kind of stamp like randomly rather than, you know, the corner stamp in its entirety. So just kind of random stamping. Oh, that bit came out beautifully. It kind of like the stamp smudged bit. But the awesome thing is, obviously, that kind of made it really show up. So now I'm actually kind of trying to smudge it a little bit more, you know, to get it kind of showing up around here. Oh, that looks so pretty. Right. And then what I might do is actually ink it slightly. Just kind of go lightly around the edge. Don't want to kind of overdo it, but just to really bring that blue out. So just kind of lightly go around there. Probably won't bother on the inside, but just a bit on the outside. Oh, that looks lovely. Right. So if we're going to have that piece there, I'm going to have this envelope here. Envelope or flip, haven't quite decided. Now I'm finding this really irritating me, so I'm going to just chop it down slightly. Oops. And then obviously I'll have to do this side as well, because otherwise it's, you know, not quite balanced. So just chop it there. There we go. That's just a little bit better. It was kind of a little bit long, and this side kind of was a bit flappy. Okay. Now, what I would quite like, I've got this frame stamp, and I would love to have that somewhere stamped in the blue, but this is quite a dry kind of stamp. So I've just got this horrible feeling I'm not going to manage to make the blue work on here. But we'll see. Oops. Try and stamp it a few times. Can you see it's quite a kind of, I don't know what the word would be. They're, you know, when they're quite a sticky stamp, it makes them quite dry, doesn't it? It's one of them. So I have to focus a little bit more on this top bit, because that's obviously not really kind of stamping particularly. Ah, that's better, isn't it? So I'm thinking we'll have that kind of poking out. So again, just trying to kind of make a bit of room on here. So might have it up here. And I mean, obviously most of this is going to be kind of covered up really, but just have it poking out a bit. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, it's going to be covered up completely. Unless I have it kind of over to the side a bit more. Oh, what a wally. Oh dear. Well, perhaps I'll have it in the middle. You said I'd have to have it right over to that side, so what a wally I was there. I didn't really want it on this page because I felt like that would be like mimicking this, which, you know, didn't want. So let me just see what my pages this side were doing. Whether I could actually swap it over and have it here where I could kind of start again and hopefully not make that same mistake. So let me just see whether what I had there would go. Oh, no, that doesn't go with that blue frame. I wonder if we could have him here. That's not too bad there. Oh, decisions. Just have a look. See whether this would go kind of opposite him. Oh, maybe we'll do that. Okay, we'll do that. So I'm going to have a second attempt now. Let's hope I don't muck it up again. You know, stranger things have happened. So there is a good possibility I could muck it up again. Right, now I've got to try and get that frame inky and juicy again. So, right. Oh, come on. I don't know whether I'm in frame at all here because my drawer was kind of open, wedging into me so I can see it all. Right, let's get that top bit really inked up. Now I've got blue stays on all over my fingers. I mean, not that that bothers me, but I think I've said before, I mean, I'm constantly going to the school and to work covered in ink and whatnot, so I think people must just wonder what I'm doing, to be honest. But right, let's put this down here, kind of as a bit of a guide. Obviously I'm not going to have it hanging off the page, but I do want to kind of get more of the frame in this time, so let's have it right over here this time. I couldn't even tell you what stamp this is. I've had it for such a long time. I absolutely love it, but unfortunately it's beginning to come away from the foam. Can you see that? It's kind of beginning to come away from the foam, so it's not so easy to stamp now because where I'm pressing isn't where the stamp is, which is a shame. I may have to have a look on the internet and see if I can find it again, but as I say, I can't even remember what stamp it was. Right, we have got a frame of sorts now though, which is good. And once that's stuck on, you see, it's just going to look really nice there. And then here I'm going to have some lace trim going down the side, I think. Yay, I've actually made a reasonably quick decision, which is about time. Now, I was wondering about having some string here. The only thing is obviously my lace, which I wanted to leave kind of really quite hanging, would then be kind of crumpled by the string. So I wonder whether I could manage to kind of trim it in and going kind of right in where the lace would be, the string would be. because that would be kind of quite nice, wouldn't it? So let's get my string. Okay. Oops. Tie that round, and I'm obviously going to adjust where it's positioned in a moment. So it is on my radar that I'm nowhere near kind of the middle. So I have that kind of down here, I think. Okay, right, I like that. So I'm just going to kind of glue that in place. Like that. So I'll just leave this to dry for a couple of moments, and while I'm leaving that to dry, I might just pop a couple of blue stampy bits on this side, because you know, it's nice to kind of obviously tie it in. So I might go for this corner stamp now. Again, this is another one of my old time favourite, you know, stamps that I've used and used and used and used and used, but it just, you know, never gets old for me. I just still love it. So, and again, I just tend to always just use those corners. For me, they're the nicest part. Well, they're not necessarily the nicest part, but they're quite a nice effect, I guess, as a corner stamp, is what I mean. They're not necessarily the nicest part of the stamp, but I just really like how they look. And obviously that azure is really struggling to show up on the coffee dyed paper, but it is showing up a bit, so it's probably good enough, to be honest. Right, just pop a bit down here, although this could be covered up because I might put a ruffle or something on this page, but at least we've kind of got it there for if we want it there. I just wanted to kind of have something blue stamped on that side. So while we're still waiting for this to dry, I might glue this lace trim down. Might kind of try and put it slightly curved. Oops, I probably can fit that glue stick in now. Okay, cut that off like that. And then we're going to have obviously that there, which looks pretty, doesn't it? And then might just have to have a bit of bling somewhere. Maybe down there, maybe up here. I'm just having a look. This piece here that we could have it kind of in the frame, might be kind of nice. Now this piece we're going to have here, and then just going to get my ruffles. I've got some white ones which I thought might look quite nice here, so I might get some bright pink fabric. I think I need to buy some bright pink fabric, because I've made a couple of journals lately where I could have done with some bright pink, you know, similar to the lace, but obviously just fabric, and just do some bright pink ruffles. So just like some plain fabric. I mean, it's quite strange because I don't very often buy plain fabric. It's very boring to buy, isn't it? But obviously, actually, it's very useful. Right, so this ruffle, it's not very tightly ruffled, if you see what I mean. It's very thready. It's obviously been in that jar for a while and been rummaged around quite a bit. So just going to neaten it up kind of a little bit, because, I mean, there are threads and there's threads, aren't there? So this is kind of taking it a bit to the extreme, possibly. Okay, get rid of those, get rid of this one, come on. Oh, come on, come on, come on. Okay, Oh my gosh, I love that white against that. That looks so pretty, doesn't it? Oh, what do you guys think? I love it. Really love it. I hope you can actually see it. Just checking that I'm in frame. Right. So I do love that down the side. Really do love it. The only thing is, can I still actually open my flip down? Might have to make that slightly narrower, you know, which is a bit annoying. Oh, isn't it annoying sometimes when things don't just work out as you kind of plan for them? I have that there. Right. Oh, I liked it quite wide. We had it sideways, but is that strange? That is a bit strange, actually, yeah. Right, let's see how much I can trim the ruffle down. Right, I'm going to try and trim the ruffle down slightly. I might ruin this completely. I mean, obviously I have trimmed them down before sometimes, but what I mean is, you know, it might not have the same effect once it's quite thin. You know, because it might be that what was making it look so awesome was it was really making a big impact on the page. So let me just trim the other side, otherwise we're going to have it really wide one side and really small the other side. Oops. I mean, the only other thing that's a bit of a shame here is obviously, as you can see, I had torn this strip of fabric and we've now lost that ruffle, you know, frayed edge, and we've now got a straight scissored edge, which is a bit of a shame because I do like the frayed edge, but never mind. You know, sometimes these things just kind of have to be done, don't they? Right, so we've kind of narrowed that down slightly. So that's a bit better, isn't it? Right, let's get rid of my pieces of fabric. So what I can do here is, if I kind of fold it a bit, I can try, don't know if this is going to work, try and ruffle the edges a little bit with the scissors. So, I mean, obviously they're not going to be as ruffled as they were with the frayed edges, but at least they're not going to be quite so neat as the, you know, freshly cut edges. So that looks a little bit better, doesn't it? I've just kind of chuckling to myself thinking, anyone flicking on and stumbling across this video, you know, who wasn't a crafter, if they saw that, they would just think, what is she talking about? That looks a bit better. She's just made such a mess of that fabric. Oh, how we laugh. How we laugh. Right. So I'm going to kind of do it like that. I'm going to try and stick it as close to the edge of that page as I can as well. So let me kind of move this over slightly. So I'm going to try and get it as close to the edge as I can. You know, without it kind of obviously being off the edge. So I want to kind of have, hopefully, my kind of, you know, stitches kind of stuck down. Okay, that's that piece. Okay. So I'm just checking that this is going to work. So I think it will work. I mean, obviously, you know, you'd have to kind of then tuck this in or out of the way. You know, but I mean, I still think probably, you know, the annoyance of having to do that is worth it for the pretty effect of the ruffle. So as you can see, I've kind of more or less covered up my corner stamping. So I'm going to try and stamp a little bit more now. I'm going to actually treat myself and order a new Azure stamp. I might even do that today, because what happens, you see, is once it goes back in the drawer and I'm no longer kind of using it, it's just out of sight, out of mind, and I just totally forget that I even need one. And it's not until I come to actually do something and think, oh, I could just do with some blue stamp, you know, ink, that I even give it another thought. So that's kind of what's happened here. So I might try and make it a thing in my mind to actually do that today before it kind of goes completely again. Okay. So I'm going to pop this down. So I'm going to just hot glue this again, because it's just kind of nice to do it quickly when you're filming. There we go. Okay. Just get that little piece of glue that's kind of seeping out there. Oh, that just looks so pretty. I love that white. It's kind of such a big impact on that page for some reason. Right, now I want to have this piece somewhere, so just need to kind of decide where to have it. Could have it kind of over there. Do we want it on that page, or do we want it here? Maybe have it there. That's quite cute. So again, for some reason my glue's just like oozing out of you know, my wet glue. I don't know why. It's it might be because it's got warm, I'm not sure, but it's very oozy today because we've finally been having some nice weather. And I've said this so many times lately, you're probably sick of hearing it, but I am trying to film my videos ahead. So, you know, it could be that this video has been filmed kind of 3 weeks ago, or four weeks ago, something like that, by the time I've actually uploaded it. So, you know, I'm saying it's been nice weather, but by the time this video goes up, what I'm saying is it may no longer be nice weather. It could be being, you know, absolutely terrible weather by the time the video goes up. But at the time, whilst I'm filming this, it's nice weather. Right, now I wouldn't be happy with this page with no bling. Oh my gosh, I'm just looking, I've stuck that lace down wrong side up. I'm gonna have to peel it off. Oh no. You know, kind of, yeah, it's stuck on the kind of reverse side. Luckily that came up okay. Let me just see if I can peel the hot glue from the page. And again, this is another one of those how not to do things, but I just kind of spotted that at the last minute. Thought, oh no, put the lace down on the wrong way up. But I mean, obviously, you know, that's a good reason to use hot glue. No, I am joking. I mean, obviously that's not why I used the hot glue, but as luck had it, that worked out fine, didn't it? So, you know, that was able to be peeled back up. Right, I'm going to glue that down. Might just quickly glue this down a little bit more here. Okie dokie. Pop it here. Again, I'm just going to hot glue it because, you know, it really is really nice for when you're on camera to just do things quickly. There we go. Oh, I love how that looks. Looks really pretty. Oh my gosh, I've just glanced up and seen the time. We're like over an hour now, so I really must hurry because this is turning into a very long video and I couldn't tell you why. Now, just got a white bow here because I wondered whether we might have a white bow to kind of tie the two sides in. What do you think? Yeah, I might do that. And just one more thing, just quickly before I kind of finish this video, I might just have a little bit of the blue just stamped here. Again, to kind of just tie it in with the other side of the page. So I won't know myself if I actually do order a new one of these as your ink pads, you know, I won't know myself, because it will be so juicy and bright that I'm actually going to just make horrendous pages for a while, because I'll be kind of forgetting that I've got a really juicy, lovely ink pad, and you know, be pressing really hard and trying to really ink it up, and it'll be coming out kind of the bluest pad you've ever seen. Right, okay, I'm going to pop this bow just down here. Oh, I still haven't got my bling. Perhaps we'll have it here. Or I'm just wondering, perhaps we should have a pink bow on the white. Just rummaging through my little bow jar. Which do you think? Right, we've got the pink here, or the white down there. Oh, I think maybe the pink wins it. Maybe a bit of bling. Right, let's just go for this, because I'm sure that you're all fed up with this length of video. The thing is, these long videos, they're hard to kind of fit into your life, aren't they? You know, I mean, obviously we don't kind of have endless hours to be watching videos. I do realise that. And I hadn't, believe it or not, intended for this video to be this length. It just suddenly got away from me, and you know, before I knew it, it just was that length. Well, I actually didn't have a clue until I just looked up and spotted the time and was literally horrified at what the time said. Right, okay, enough is enough now. So we've managed to do 2 pages. We've obviously done this page here, and we did this page here. So although that was a protracted process and, you know, very lengthy, I am happy with those pages. And obviously we've provisionally put things where we're going to kind of pop them. So, you know, time wasn't wasted. But yeah, I hope that you kind of like the 2 pages that we did. I think they turned out really pretty. I'm not quite sure which one's my favourite, but I do really like them both. So thank you very much for watching, and I am very sorry that the video dragged on quite so long. It was not intentional. Thanks very much then, and I hope you all have a really lovely day. See you all again soon. Thanks, bye.